Hey y'all, so I have been slowly removing the soil from this raised bed. It's a 4x3 bed that I had in the greenhouse. So I was using this as a pepper bed. So I've been moving the soil over to my new potato bed. And I'm using this with one hand now, so it's hard, but it's even challenging doing this with both hands. So it's been a really slow process filling this up. This isn't all soil from that bed. I have some black cow in here, some soil from some other containers, but this has been a really tough job. Way harder than I expected. You can tell I put a dent in it. Looking over there on the other side, I got pretty deep, but it's not all the way down that far all around. So it's quite a bit left that I gotta remove. But eventually, I'm gonna move this bed out of here so I can have enough space in here to have my 17-gallon containers with different plants, and I can have more flexibility with how I put them and where I put them. But this I'm still planning to serve as my potato bed. So I'm behind on planting my potatoes, but I'm working. It's a work in progress. It's just a lot more work. But here are the collards, and they are huge, and they are going to seed. So I've decided to make way for the smaller plants that are in this bed. As you can see, the collards are huge. There are 3 of them in here, 2 kind of large ones and then one somewhat smaller, a slightly smaller one. My yard is overgrown. My lawn guy came the other day, but it started raining, so he only was able to mow the front yard. But so it's been wild out here, and it's been cold the past few days. I haven't been outside much. It's been cold and rainy, and cold I mean in the 40s. But these are the other collards that are coming up, and these are the ones I want to give a chance to move the larger plants out of the way. And this is a cluster of collards, I believe. So I'm going to try to separate these, and I'll spread them around in this bed a little better. And so I want to get the larger plants out of the way, starting with the kohlrabi. And I should have moved these. I probably should have took these out last week. So I'm going to go ahead and take out both of these. I just have to go get my cutters. Now here's my chamomile. I've grown chamomile I think for the last 3 years. This is the first time I've seen flowers on it. So usually it wouldn't last this long. This one I was worried it wouldn't last because it's got some yellowing, but it's surviving and it has flowers. I'm not sure if it's going to seed, but this is definitely going to seed. I'm not sure if the chamomile is going to seed, but the collards are definitely going to seed. This one is flowering. So I got my cutters. I'm going to go ahead and get this kohlrabi. This base is really thick and barky. It's thick and solid, so it's a little hard to get through. I'm just trying to show how thick it is. The smaller one is also thick, but not quite as thick, of course. It takes some effort to cut through with these cutters, at least. I definitely should have got this one a while ago. It's gotten enormous. It looks like it's splitting a little at the bottom. So I'll cut this, when I cut the exterior out, make sure I cut all that off. But this, I did fry the last one like fries or potato wedges. And it tastes similar to potato wedges with a hint of broccoli. I'm just trying to show how thick the stem is right there, how thick it is right there. But Hands in the Dirt said he eats them raw, so I'm just gonna try these raw with a salad. Yeah, this one is much smaller. But it's huge too. This is large, and it's also splitting. but hopefully it's good raw. Now I started this off planning to cut these down entirely, but then I started thinking maybe I'll just cut the lower leaves, and that'll make it so that they aren't blocking out the sun from these smaller plants. And especially since then I can keep this one, let this one go to seed, and save those seeds. I'm sure I'm going to speed up this part. It's a lot of leaves. So a lot of greens. This is a lot of greens. And they're not all in great condition, so some of them I'm going to compost. This little one has also gone to seed. I decided I'll go ahead and let it stay unless it starts getting in the way, but for now I can let it stay and just collect those seeds as well. The flowers will also attract pollinators. Well, I do have some flowers, but I'm moving those to my front yard eventually. I'm working on setting up stuff up there as well. So I want to put some peppers in a bed in my front yard, as well as flowers and herbs and stuff in the front yard as well. Trying to optimize my space because I don't have a lot of space. I'm definitely grateful for all that I have. So these leaves, those are raggedy leaves, I'm going to go ahead and put over here to compost in place in a potato bed. So I'm going to do more of composting in place this year. I did that my first year of gardening, but I haven't done it since then. So, and this is my 4th year. So I'm trying to go back to what I know works, because I had a good year that first year with what I did grow. Each year I'm kind of expanding and broadening my horizons. Cherie and Bobby from Black Tropical Homestead were on Lead Former 73's recent live talking about the Soul Family Expo that's happening this weekend. Anyway, they were talking about how it's not just about people who have channels. It's not even just about people who have gardens. It's about all of us growing the way that we grow in different ways. And I know that I'm growing, even though I'm growing all these beautiful plants, I'm also growing as a person. And so that's all a part. It's layers to all of this. Now I was kind of thinking of doing this one the same way, cutting the lower leaves and try to let this one out. I decided to take off that head because I figure I already have that one that has flowers. Then I decided that I'd rather just go ahead, since I've already cut the head off of this one time, I'd rather just go ahead and take this one out and leave the other two, to give these other smaller plants a better chance. I'm going to compost most of this. I'll save what I can and compost the rest. So this is turning into a huge harvest of collards. Of course, all these leaves aren't edible, definitely not. I'm gonna go through them, and whatever definitely isn't in good shape, I'll compost it. Now I have almost a blank canvas. Well, I have this going to seed. I'll be waiting to collect these seeds, and then I'll remove this. But it's looking like a blank canvas almost, even though I have. So this little tiny thing over here was growing off the Kohlrabi, the first one I cut. So I don't know if that will actually produce something, so I may go ahead and remove that. And that cluster, I'll spread out better, and then I'll just see how this bed does. Oh, well, my kale. No, I need to do something about the kale. I need to harvest some of it. It's not going to seed that I could see. I did remove my cilantro because it died. It was just kind of covered too much, and I don't know, it didn't make it. But the strawberries are doing okay. Have some larger ones than usual. Still have some lumpy ones, but overall it's doing much better than it did last year. And last year was the first year I grew strawberries. They're doing much better in this bed than they're doing in the containers. The pink ones, these pink containers, I had them in last year. So I think in the raised bed, they'll do much better, especially after I remove that kale. While we're over here, I'll go ahead and look at the grow bags, and I have put some peas in these containers. I may have got the labels mixed up, but most of them did come up. I put them on the 4 containers on the outside. This middle container is okra. The peas I'll be able to tell eventually as they grow. These front 4 containers are herbs, and I think this is parsley. I don't know what this is, but there's something in there. I'm not sure what that is. Nothing's growing in there, and then I don't know what this is. And then over here in the garlic bed, it's growing wild, lots of weeds. That grass from the straw is just taking over, or it's so mixing, I don't know the difference. The parsley is still in here, and it's the only herbs that survived that I put in here, and it's doing really well. But the garlic, I need to go through here and get this grass out. I mean, I'm sure that's taking some of stealing the nutrients, and it's gonna have a negative impact on the garlic. So I need to get that out of there. Well, that's the end of the harvest / mini update. Thanks for watching, y'all.